What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. Cheers to everyone. Today it is Monday, April 24th. It's draft week. The Jets and the Packers finally made the Aaron Rodgers deal, and we're going to get into a fun mock draft here. It's going to be my fifth mock draft. I did post links to my other ones in the video below, but this is for real. This is we know the draft trade now. We got all the picks that we wanted from the Packers perspective, and now we're going to have some fun and get a little bit more accurate with our mock draft. So I'm going to hop into a screen share here, and I'm going to be using Pro Football Network's mock draft. It's a free mock draft simulator. You guys can find it and use it, and they've already updated the trade between the Jets and the Packers, so we're good to go. I'm going to go a full 7 rounds. We're going to go fast. We're going to take the Packers here, and this one's going to be a little bit quicker than my other videos. In the other videos, I have done recaps of the depth chart and the top 30 visits and stuff, but you can check all that stuff out in the other ones if you want. But for now, we know the Packers' weaknesses. We know the spots in the depth chart that need to be addressed. Let's get into it. Let's draft the 2023 mock draft for the Green Bay Packers. And of course, we're picking at 13 here, so this is a lot of fun. We got you get some trade offers in the mock draft simulator every now and then. I'm just gonna go ahead and reject them. Although I do think that if the Packers don't get the guy that we're gonna end up taking here, I'm open to trading down. But here's the recap. You got Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson, Will Levis at 4, Tyree Wilson, Jalen Carter, Paris Johnson. A lot of people were mocking Paris Johnson to the Packers in the mid-first. Broderick Jones, Skoronski. So a run on offensive tackles here. Myles Murphy, Darnell Wright. That's crazy to see him at 11. That would blow my mind because he's an option I think the Packers are looking at in the first round. Nolan Smith, and if this is the board, I think I've been mocking him. It's kind of my chalk pick here, and I think it's the biggest splash pick that the Packers can make, especially this year, especially with trading Aaron Rodgers away. The one thing we never gave Aaron Rodgers in his entire career in Green Bay was a first round wide receiver. And I believe there is one receiver here who fits the mold of what the Packers are looking for, and that's Jackson Smith-Njigba out of Ohio State. He's going to come in and he's going to primarily be our slot receiver. That's going to probably work it. I mean, just think of the trio of Jackson Smith-Njigba, Christian Watson, and Romeo Doubs. These guys are all going to be able to kind of move in and out of the slot whenever they choose, but that makes a really nice, formidable trio of starting wide receivers. And you basically just say, "Hey, Jordan Love, man, here you go. Here's a new friend. Let's have some fun this year." We don't, as a Packer fan, we're not expecting to win a lot of games this year. I expect to be competitive. I don't see us winning only 3 or 4 games this year. I think it's going to be more, 6, 7, 8, if not more. That's great. But I'm going into this expecting a losing season. So let's go ahead. First round pick here. Let's get Jackson Smith-Njigba on the team. And the maneuver to go from 15 to 13 gives us a little bit of leeway here to get Jackson Smith-Njigba. I think the team to watch is going to be Houston because, man, if they take C.J. Stroud, how sexy would that be if they come back and they get JSN to pair with Stroud? So that's the team to watch. Wouldn't be surprised if the Packers have to trade up to get Jackson Smith-Njigba. If that's their guy, that's probably what I would do. So let's get Jackson Smith-Njigba on the board, and then we're gonna skip it here all the way down to 42, which the Packers again acquired today in the trade with the Jets. Now this one's interesting because there's some guys on the board here. Zay Flowers should not be on the board. If he was available at 42, I'd say F it. Let's go back-to-back receivers. I think that could be a tremendous pick. But either way, as the board lies, Darnell Washington's kind of the chalk pick. We've had him in for camp visits, for top 30 visits. He is your prototypical freak athlete tight end. He's huge, and he's a really, really good blocker too. He didn't really get to do a lot of pass catching for Georgia, so he can kind of come in and be, at worst case, Mercedes Lewis his rookie year. But I expect him to be heavily involved. We need tight ends. Again, the Packers needs, man, receiver, tight end on offense. You probably need some offensive lineman depth. We also, on defense, at this point, at 42 and 45, I love the edge depth. Whether we take Adebawore from Northwestern here, Keon White from Georgia Tech, or Zama here from Kansas State, I think I've seen Keon White go in the first round some mocks here. So he's a guy that could be, I mean, his range of outcomes is pretty great. So I don't know if he would even be here. But what we're going to do here, and again, if Zay Flowers was available here, I'd say F it, do it. But he's going to be a first-round pick, so we'll ignore that. Let's get Darnell Washington off the board. And then we grabbed two studs for the offense, Darnell Washington and Jackson Smith the Jigba, basically saying, "Hey Jordan, have some fun with these two guys. These are going to be your friends for the next handful of years to come." And looks like we missed out on an edge here in Clemson. But with our 45th overall pick, I think again it's looking to me like edge is going to be the position. We have brought in these guys for draft visits too. Again, Zay Flowers, Jalen Hyatt. If we wanted to go edge, say in the first round, we wanted to get Van Ness from Iowa, that's fine because there might be some receivers here in 42 and 45 that we like quite a bit. I also like the other tight end, Sam Laporta from Iowa. A lot of good Iowa players in this year's draft. But I think for me, getting one of these edge rushers to come in and compete for our number 3 edge rushing job. Preston Smith's not getting any younger. Rashawn Gary coming off a serious knee injury. We need some depth at that position. So I'm going to take Keon White from Georgia Tech. I know he's a little bit older, but it seems like his stock is soaring as we approach Thursday night. It looks like we got some more trade offers. We're going to kindly decline. And now we're back on the clock at 78. We've gotten one edge, one receiver, one tight end. We're probably interested in some safety help, I think. And who knows? Maybe once this Rodgers deal gets pushed through and we have some money to spend, maybe we get Adrian Amos back. I'm not sure. He hasn't signed anywhere yet that I'm aware of. So I'm open to a reunion with Adrian Amos. Otherwise, here, as I'm looking at the board, safety Antonio Johnson, Texas A&M, small school. Not sure how much I love him, but 6'3", nearly 200 pounds. The RAS is pretty low, so I don't know if that makes sense with what we do. We have another safety here, J.L. Skinner out of Boise State. His RAS is not available, but physically it says he checks all the boxes. So mentally he brings plenty to like as well. So this might be a guy that we're looking into at safety, especially if we can't get our guy Adrian Amos back. One of the guys that we did bring in for a visit was Jamie Robinson, Florida State. Again, I don't love the safety depth this year. I think we can maybe wait and grab some guys later in the draft here. But I think round 3, if we were to grab one, that might be the spot to look into it. Otherwise, I want some defensive tackle help. One guy that I was hoping would fall a little bit, and I'm not sure I'm seeing him here. Where is my guy? I'm looking for a defensive lineman. 1 second. Defensive tackle, edge. He must have went already. But either way, I kind of want to continue to build our defense up. Cornerback doesn't really make sense to me. I don't know enough about this Dexter from Florida, but he's got a huge frame, 6'6", 313, 9.52 RAS. This could be a guy. I mean, just imagine in the future years, you got Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt, and perhaps this Dexter here could be a huge athlete on the defensive line. So he's sticking out to me here. None of the safeties really stick out to me yet. I think the receivers at this point, I'm still not super. I like Tank Dell, but maybe we can look at Jaden Reed too. We can look at receiver perhaps in the next draft. So I'm gonna pass on safety here, and we're gonna get is it Jervon Dexter from Florida? Let's just add another big body, 6'6", 313. Let's see what he can do, and if he can mingle in and be a potential starter for us on the defensive line. Zach Kuntz would have been nice here, but as we're up in the 4th round, top available, Kendre Miller, cornerback from Illinois, Alabama linebacker, another tackle, edge. A lot of running backs available here. I am very interested in potentially grabbing some offensive linemen at this point of the draft. Ricky Stromberg here. He played center. I don't know. Let's see here. Yeah, he has starting experience at both guard spots, and that does help. Anytime that a player can play center and move around and play guard positions, it means he's pretty intelligent. So it wouldn't surprise me if this Ricky Stromberg, who's got a great RAS score, 9.57 for a lineman, he fits the mold of a guy who could come in, compete for a starting guard spot. He also just provides tremendous depth at the interior offensive lineman position. I want to do my due diligence, though, on receiver. Hutchinson, Bryce Ford Wheaton. I like Dontavian Wicks. I like Parker Washington. We do have a 5th round pick now. But again, we've already kind of used a handful of picks on our receiving weapons. So maybe, again, it's not a sexy pick, but I'm totally cool getting an offensive lineman here that can potentially be a backup center, be a left or right guard. Versatility. the Packers have shown that they value versatility. So we'll make him the pick in the 4th round. And as we're moving into the 5th, I'm very interested in wide receiver. I still haven't drafted us a safety. I would love Tajay Spears here. That would be a lot of fun. Top receivers available. Michael Wilson's a nice piece from Stanford. Otherwise, there's some athletes down here at the bottom of the list. Charlie Jones is pretty decent. I would have liked to grab another receiver probably earlier in this draft, but again, grabbing Smith and the Jigba at the first, like he's going to be the guy. I think that if he would be the pick, you got Romeo, JSN, and you got Watson. That's going to be the trio that we're going to try and get out on the floor as much as possible. But anyways, we're up to pick. I like Michael Wilson. I think he's a fine receiver. You know, he's pretty intelligent if he plays at Stanford. So he makes sense here. Nothing else really sticks out. I still don't see a safety. Jay Ward from LSU, Alabama safety, Mississippi State. Let me just take a look here. Jay Ward, 6.7 RAS. Let's see what DeMarco Halams has, 4.53. It's not a really good safety class, guys. So that's why the Packers, we signed a lot of safeties in the free agency. Maybe we're content with what we got, and we're still going to try and sign a veteran. So let's go ahead and get, again, I like Tajay Spears too as a running back, but I'm going to grab Michael Wilson, one of the best receivers available at this point in the draft. And this is just the guy that can come in and compete as a number 4, number 5. He has a nice RAS score, 6'1", 213. It says he has great quickness and short area mobility for his size and can easily offset DBs. Sudden high energy route runner with throttle freedom, terse hip sync, and rapid feet. So this could be a nice little backup wide receiver for us. So let's grab Michael Wilson here from Stanford, and we're on to the 6th round. And until today, we did not have a 6th round pick, but the Jets have essentially, we gave them a 5th. They gave us a 6th. We kind of just fell back. But we're up to pick. Again, that safety from Alabama is still on the board here. DeMarco Halams, if I'm saying that correctly. Javon Hicks from Cincinnati, potential another safety. I thought there was maybe one more. This Anthony Johnson from Iowa State. I know the Packers were visiting Iowa State a handful of times when they went to Iowa, and I think Iowa State's pro day. So it wouldn't surprise me if this guy was the pick at this point of the draft. I just want to see who else is available. Some running backs here: Keaton Mitchell, Mohamed Ibrahim. I like both of these guys, but I don't know if it's a need. We do need a linebacker. We still haven't gotten a backup tackle. But I think the pick is going to be Anthony Johnson here from Iowa State. Let's grab that safety and see if we can compete for a special teams or a starting spot. And again, now we got 4 bullets left here in the 4th round, or the 7th round, my bad. Let's see if we can find Josh Wiley from Cincinnati. I could totally see us grabbing another tight end. Let me look here. Josh Wiley, Kamari Everett, Brenton Strange is interesting. I don't mind Josh Wiley. I think he's a good blocker. 6'6", 248. That could be the pick here. Let's just grab another tight end. We do need another tight end, having lost Tunyon and Mercedes Lewis, so there is room for 2. We do need a backup quarterback. Cam Jones from Indiana. I believe I mocked him before. His RAS is not great. And Fernay Orji from Vanderbilt with a 9.24 RAS score. Let's just grab a top linebacker here, because we do need a backup linebacker. We don't have a stout number 3, number 4 guy, a guy that can come in and play special teams. So let's go ahead and grab the guy from Vanderbilt here. And then the 2 positions that I've been kind of avoiding have been offensive tackle and quarterback. We do need a backup QB. Don't know if I see one here available. Maybe we sign a veteran guy here. I'm fine with not taking a quarterback in this draft. We are going all forward with Jordan Love. If we want to pick Stetson Bennett here, I'm totally fine with that. There are a couple Big 12 offensive tackles here. Connor Galvin, let's see his RAS, 5.43. And again, RAS is fine. The Packers do tend to look at this and take players based on athleticism. It's been a trend of Brian Gutekunst in the past. So at this point in the draft, I'm just going to be real with you. I don't know a lot of these players, but I like big name schools. I like guys that can, especially on the offensive line, guys that have versatility. And then I love seeing high RAS scores on offensive linemen. So let's get Earl Bostic Jr. in here, a guy that can compete for our left tackle or right tackle, whatever happens. And then our final pick of the draft, let's just have some fun with it. I mean, we didn't grab a running back in this draft. There's a couple guys that I like here. Lou Nichols is kind of fun. Travis Dye's okay. But we'll pass on that. Let's just get our quarterback in the room here. Stetson Bennett, where are you, buddy? Come on down and compete for our backup quarterback duty. But that's it. That's the draft. Let's do a recap here. My mock draft simulator. We got Jackson Smith Najigba, wide receiver from Ohio State, at 13th overall. Round 2, we go and get Darnell Washington and Keon White, edge rusher from Georgia Tech. Gervon Dexter, if I'm saying that wrong, Gervon, defensive tackle from Florida. And he sounded really fun. He's a huge body, a guy that can come in and wreak havoc and potentially be a starter for us, if not this year, next year. And then Ricky Stromberg from Arkansas. And again, I value versatility at the offensive lineman position. Packers do have a lack of depth on the interior offensive line, and Stromberg could potentially be a guy that is just a nice piece for the future and could compete for a starting spot this year. Michael Wilson, go watch some tape on Michael Wilson. If you need to go to YouTube and just type in Michael Wilson highlights, get familiar with him because he's a lot of fun. Anthony Johnson Jr., just another name, like Iowa State and Iowa this year, man. They have a lot of guys in the draft that are a lot of fun. So I like him as a safety project. Another tight end in Josh Wiley. Again, I mentioned Mercedes Lewis and Robert Tonyan both leaving in free agency. So we do have room for two. And Ferne Orji, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but a linebacker from Vanderbilt, Earl Bostic Jr., offensive tackle from Kansas, and Stetson Bennett. So there you have it. That is our final Packers mock draft 5.0. And guys, I'm just having fun. I'm not trying to be serious, a little bit serious, but I'm trying to have a little bit of fun and just show you guys positions and players that we might be looking at. And hopefully we grab someone at all the positions of need for the team. Super excited. I'm just like, we finally got the monkey off our back that was Aaron Rodgers. And now we get to move into a new era with Jordan Love. So thank you guys so much for your time. Like the video, subscribe if you are new. Enjoy the NFL draft, and we'll see you guys on the other side. Peace.